Good evening, Al-Pam viewers. This is producer Ken. I am filling in tonight for on the Al-Pam News Network. Got a treat tonight. We're back on because we're starting to get sort of together for our upcoming conventions. Cody Miller, and Cody, I forgot to ask you. I know I call it the College Republicans, but give me the official title.
It is the North Carolina Federation of College Republicans.
Okay. Well, Cody is here with the North Carolina Federation of College Republicans. Cody is the current chairman, and how many days before you're the former chairman?
One, actually.
So tonight, broadcast this will be Cody's siren song or something like that. But welcome, my friend. Welcome. First of all, and you and I didn't talk about this, tell me a little bit in case people don't know, because I know a lot of people know who you are. But how did you get involved in the College Republicans? That was the first question I should have told you and I was going to ask you. How'd you get involved?
Well, it's a little bit of a complicated story, but long story short, I found it by completely accident. I never intended on getting involved in politics or anything like that. I actually wanted to go to school for music, of all things, one of the most liberal majors that there are. But I ended up enrolling in App State, and then I found out that I couldn't take the classes I wanted. So for as far as gen ed classes go, and so I ended up having to switch my major. I'm like, you know what? I know I'm a conservative, so I'm going to go into political science. At least I know a thing or two, I hope, about it. Turns out I didn't know that much, but I felt like the first thing I needed to do was look for what the Republican Club was on campus or whatever. So I typed it in on the little search tool for clubs on campus. And there came up College Republicans, and I actually missed the entire first meeting, showed up afterwards, and hung out with the current chair at the time at Appalachian State, and a few of the other board members and friends, and hung out with them for several hours, and then it snowballed from there. Started attending every club meeting, and started going to other events outside of campuses and everything like that. So it just really was a snowball effect. Wasn't really necessarily intentional. So.
And you mentioned before, but next question is, you've got your convention coming up soon. I believe you said tomorrow. So basically, what's your hopes, man, for what you hope to accomplish for your state convention this tomorrow?
Well, I'd say the ultimate goal of any state convention, at least for us, since we hold elections annually, is making sure that we have a team in there that is able to and ready to accomplish the goals that are necessary for that year. I think that is the most important thing, because while a lot of elections go uncontested, some years they are contested, and it's very important that the right people are put into the job, because the difference could make or break the College Republicans. If you put a bad chairman and a bad board in there for a year, it's entirely possible that the entire thing crumbles. But to put a good chairman or a good slate in there, or heck, even just a mediocre one, that makes the difference between having a bad one in there. Personally, I don't think that we will be electing a bad chairman or even a mediocre chairman or slate or anything like that. But I do think it makes all the difference, and I look forward to seeing what the next administration is going to be able to accomplish.
On that same question, and it's funny, we're going to broadcast this one tonight, and so the first district, which I'm a part of, is basically, because everybody's got their conventions going on too.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a break, and then we're going to have the state convention. What's your hopes for the state convention that'll be coming up soon?
Well, since that one will not be an election for our chair, I think that this convention will be interesting, because we have 2024 elections are just around the corner, and the state convention I feel like it'll be a gathering of our like-minded individuals, almost to me in a sort of last hurrah before we start going out and really hitting the doors, really doing numbers. We have all of these primaries that have been going on. Now we have runoffs, and it's been just such a long primary season. Everybody's ready for it to be over. One big last celebration. Of course, there is the usual business and whatnot. I believe there are several things that will be going on throughout the convention for business purposes. And of course, like always, I hope that they go for the betterment of the party. Uh, but I think that a lot of people will be attending this to mainly get to know each other and have collective community experience before finally sending off into 2024. And hopefully, this convention will be able to raise money as well for us to be able to do the hard work that is necessary come here in a few months.
I don't know if people know. I mean, and I didn't tell you when you and I talked earlier. I was a member of the Old Dominion College Republicans years ago. So another question that just popped up in my head. Um, if people are watching, do you have chapters on community colleges? Is it a university thing? Is it a community college thing? Give our listeners kind of a perspective, like if they don't have a college Republican, maybe a club at their group, can they start one? And I mean, expound on that for everybody.
Okay. So while I do not, off the top of my head, I cannot think of any of our chapters that is based on a community college. But that being said, we operate on public universities, private universities, community colleges, whatever. The one thing that is required, the common denominator for every single one, is one person. It's the one person that you have to be able to know. It's that one contact. Without that one person, it is so incredibly hard to start a chapter or anything on the campus. Because, I mean, if you don't know anybody, I mean, it has to come from within. You can only do so much from the outside. At some point, you have to have somebody on the inside. So the biggest thing that anybody can do to try and help start a group is getting that one contact. And if you have the one contact, I highly encourage you to reach out. Best way would probably be through our website at ncfcr.us. You just sort of all sorts of contacts forms, and you can even contact the chairman on there. But that would be the biggest way to be able to help and start a new club. Because I know a lot of people are interested in being able to have a chapter on their local campus, but they're not entirely sure how. But it's just the one person. Because even if that one person isn't necessarily interested in starting a college Republicans, they may know somebody who will, or that someone who knows someone might know someone who will. It's all about the one person. So if you think you have somebody that might be able to help, absolutely try reach out and try to get us connected with them.
For somebody again who's watching who may not know, what are any sort of challenges or again sort of tell about the wonderful opportunities? Because for me it's great to meet your candidates. It's basically great to actually get engaged. You get to meet fellow like-minded conservatives. But what would you tell someone who's watching what are their challenges, number one, but what are the great opportunities?
Well, yeah, there are definitely challenges. I mean, first of all, just being a conservative on campus can be difficult enough. Being an outspoken conservative, I mean, just prepare for at the very minimum every now and then something stupid's going to happen. That's just always to be expected. Some universities are much worse than others. Luckily, generally mine, I don't have to worry about anything too terrible. Usually it's sometimes you get heckled or whatever, but I mean sometimes we ask for it. So I'd say that some of the worst challenges that I've really run across have actually been at Duke University. We tried starting actually we had a chapter there for the longest time since the 70s, and they or maybe even the 60s. I'm not sure. It was a lot longer before my time, but I know we tried to restart it recently because it had faded away a few years back. And the guy that we were trying to start it up with there, I mean, he's no stranger to liberals or anything. He's from California. Mm-hmm. But he said that he could just not catch a break from either the administration, the students, nothing. I mean, it was heartbreaking to hear, because every time he would feel energetic about something, he would find that, I mean, just the students in general were just too scared to want to associate their name with something like that. The student body, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the students there work sometimes their whole lives to get to a university like Duke, and they don't want to attach themselves to something that they fear could get them kicked out or feel like could jeopardize their career in the future. I mean, that's unfortunately where a lot of conservative college students lay, since the liberal elite control a lot of these institutions and a lot of these places they're trying to get hired at. So that's the people that they have to worry about, and that's what's so incredibly sad. But luckily, some of the good things about the college Republicans is, yes, it is absolutely the best way in college to kind of get to meet your candidates. Heck, before I joined, I didn't know the difference between the state house and the state senate, or if that even existed in comparison to the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate. And I know that I've actually heard the same thing from several people that have been involved in the college Republicans. So that's not a rarity. But I would say that, I mean, beyond getting just to know your candidates, it's really the best way to get involved in Republican politics at this age. Because, I mean, really, if you're a college student, a freshman at college, and you know nothing about politics, at least the actual getting involved in everything, where in the world are you going to go? Who are you going to talk to?
Sure.
You're going to ask? Well, luckily I had people that I could ask here at the college Republicans. They said, oh, well, you can get involved in the local county party. Well, there's district conventions. There's all sorts of different things. There's different fundraising events and stuff like that. And you can just, it's like the snowball effect I mentioned earlier. If you get involved with one thing in the college Republicans, it's much easier to get involved with everything else. So yeah. I think it really is that stepping stone into politics in general.
Final question, but what impact do you think you guys have had? I mean, I always, again, and it's been many moons for me, but I don't think people realize the impact that you guys can really have on these elections, because your enthusiasm is there. And there's so much more. But what impact do you think you guys have?
Well, off the top of my mind, this is what I imagine the college Republicans are like. A lot of times, it can even just be a small group of friends. And I mean, 5-6 people, even at the very least, even just an average amount, I guess. But these small groups of people have so much, it's just a tremendous amount of passion for the things that they do. I mean, I'll just take my university, Appalachian State, for example. For the longest time, since the early 2010s, if I remember correctly, there's not been any Republicans on the county commission here in Watauga County. The university completely just drains out the rest of the vote of the county, and it votes overwhelmingly liberal, and the county vote that's Republican, but it just gets outweighed every time. But in 2022, that changed, and the college Republicans were really at the forefront of that change. And I'm not saying nobody else wasn't doing a whole lot either, but had you taken the college Republicans, or any person for that matter, out of the situation, it simply wouldn't have happened. We elected 2 Republicans to the county commission, and that's the first time in a decade or more, I can't remember the exact time off the top of my head, that we've elected a Republican to the county commission in Watauga County. And one of them won by, I believe it was 31 votes. The other one won by 7. Wow. So you take a single person out of that race there, and it doesn't happen. So if you want to know where the college Republicans really make a difference, it's a lot of these close elections at universities tend to actually be around. I know that there were several state house races back in 2022 as well, that a lot of college Republican chapters were really involved in trying to help flip, and a couple of them did. So I'd say that's where the college Republicans really do lie, because they can be a small group sometimes, but they will be hardworking. They will care a whole heck of a lot, and they will do. I mean, they'll go out till 2-3 in the morning, put up your yard signs if you ask them to. And I mean, the amount of times I've stayed up so late putting up posters and yard signs and everything else. I mean, it's
working polls.
Yeah, working polls, and especially working polls pays. So that's an even better driver for college students.
I agree.
But yeah, it comes a lot from their drive and their passion.
Well, Cody, our time has been fast. You have been amazing. We have been talking with Cody with the North Carolina College. Golly, it's a mouth word, dude. Say it to him for me one more time.
The North Carolina Federation of College Republicans.
Yes. That has been the guest today for our Al-Pam viewers. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy your conventions tomorrow. We'll see you soon. This has been Producer Ken. Have a good night.